Om Tat Sat. Welcome to Gyan Bhakti. We are currently exploring the scripture Mysticism of Ramayana. Commentary is by my Guruji, Swami Jyotirmayanandaji Maharaj, narrated by myself, Swami Nikhilananda. We are currently on Lanka Kand, which we just entered yesterday. So let's continue from there. Soon news of their arrival reached Ravana, who was shocked to learn that the ocean had been bridged. In a burst of confusion, all his 10 heads simultaneously expressed his amazement. But Ravana quickly composed himself and hid his inner fear. Rejecting the advice of his wife Mandodari and his son Prahasta that he surrender to Rama, Ravana retired to enjoy an evening program of dance and music at his palace, just to show Rama as if nothing has happened. Meanwhile, Rama, along with the army of monkeys and bears, spent the evening resting at their campsite. As night advanced, Rama saw what appeared to be strange rumbling clouds and lightning flashes in the distance, and he questioned Vibhishana about them. Vibhishana explained that those were not rumbling clouds at all, but demons that had come together to entertain Ravana with dances and music under a great canopy. Further, it was the earrings of Mandodari and the jewel on Rama's crown which were flashing like lightning. Hearing this, Rama sent forth a single arrow which cut off the crown, the canopy above Rama's on his head, and also the earrings of Mandodari. This happened within a single moment, and nobody in the palace saw the flying arrow or knew why the strange event had occurred. The demons were dumbfounded and fearful, but Ravana convinced them that it was merely an auspicious omen indicating that he was going to attain victory. However, Mandodari had insight into the divinity of Rama, and when they were alone in the palace, she tried to persuade Ravana to give away Sita and avoid war. However, Ravana merely laughed and scolded Mandodari, showering abuses upon her instead of listening to her good reasoning. Then he spent the whole night bragging about his glory and power. Next episode is Angada sent as a messenger to avert war. Rama woke up early in his mountain campsite and summoned his ministers. They advised him to send Angad, the son of Bali, as a messenger to Ravan to see if war could be averted. Rejoicing at the privilege of serving Rama's mission, Angada set out for Lanka. There, Angada met one of the many sons of Ravana and quickly fought with him and killed him. Seeing that destruction of Ravana's son, the other demon heroes did nothing, terrified that Angada would go after them as well. With Rama installed in his heart, Angada finally reached the gates of Ravana's palace and was escorted in by the demon messengers. Although he found himself standing there alone before the terrifying form of Ravana and hundreds of demons, Angada was not afraid. Rather, he fearlessly introduced himself as a servant of Rama and urged Ravana to surrender. A vigorous verbal duel then ensued between Ravana and Angada until finally that great monkey began to emit a strange angry sound and banged on the floor with all his might. Such was the impact that the earth trembled and all the people in the court, including Ravana, fell from their feet as if a terrible wind had passed their way. As he fell, Ravana's 10 crowns tumbled from his head, and Angada quickly collected 4 of them. With immense force, he threw them towards Rama and the monkey army. Seeing those four mysterious shining objects coming towards them, the monkeys thought that Ravana had sent some type of a missile, and they began to scatter in different directions. But Rama laughed and allayed their fears by showing them those luminous crowns that Angada had playfully sent their way. Back in Ravana's royal court, that arrogant demon began to threaten Angada, Rama, Lakshmana, and the entire bear army, but Angada rebuked him sharply. Remembering Rama's immense power, Angada then placed his feet firmly on the floor and challenged all those present in the court, saying, "If any one of you can move my foot, Rama will go away from here, leaving Sita behind." Ravana immediately called all his soldiers to meet this challenge, but one by one they failed and returned to Ravana, defeated and ashamed. Seeing that all the others had failed, Ravana himself came forward with his 20 hands to shake the feet of Angada. Because Angada did not want to degrade Ravana, one who was to be killed by Rama, he said, "O demon, why do you fall at my feet? Why don't you fall at the feet of Rama and be saved?" Ashamed, Ravana returned to his throne, and Angada, having deprived the demon of much of his pride, returned to Rama. Angada, mystical meaning, embodies the special blend of humility and heroic boldness that an aspirant must possess on the path to enlightenment. When he was told to serve as Rama's emissary for peace, he responded by saying, "Rama's works are always accomplished by Rama himself, and yet that Rama has given me honor by making me his messenger." With perfect humility, Angada realized that every project one adapts to glorifying God has already been accomplished by God, the actual performer of all actions. Serving God, then, is a privilege for an aspirant, an opportunity to purify the mind in a most effective manner. The dialogue between Angad and Ravana reveals the heroic spirit that an aspirant develops as discrimination and dispassion increase within his personality. Fortified with these great qualities, one confronts his inner enemies. They are ignorance, egoism, hatred, with a bold understanding and a fearless heart. All the fear that one experiences in the world is a form of projection of the fear that is lodged within his mind. Therefore, if one can boldly explore his own mind and find the roots of fear that dwell inside the unconscious, he can advance on the spiritual path in a most effective manner. When Angada planted his feet on the earth and dared all the demons to shake them loose, he demonstrated the tremendous force generated by purity and faith. Even the mightiest forces of the materialistic world cannot unsettle the mind of an aspirant who is firmly rooted in God. Let's move to the next episode. The battle begins. Angada returned to Rama's camp with the news that war with Ravana was inevitable. Rama then assembled his generals and counselors, and they drew up a battle plan for the army. Eager to express their heroism in carrying out Rama's mission, the monkeys and bears rushed towards Lanka to attack its four great gates. As they ran, they imitated the sounds of trumpets and kettle drums with their mouths and shouted, "Glory to Rama, to Lakshmana, to Sugriva," with great enthusiasm. Seeing the monkeys and the bear army hovering over the fort like clouds, Ravana roared with laughter and said to his demon army, "O valiant heroes, go in all directions and feast upon those monkeys and bears. Let the battle commence." With a strange battle it ended up being. During the first day, Lanka was put into complete turmoil as thousands of demons attempted to Ravana's heroic army with their bows and arrows, tridents and maces. The monkey and bear soldiers, who were not accustomed to these modern weapons, were put into trouble again and again, since all they possessed were their nails and teeth and rocks. However, they fought valiantly with these weapons due to the fortifying grace of Rama and the encouragement of their mighty generals. Again and again, the monkeys took advantage of their extraordinary strength and agility. When the demons tossed great pieces of rocks towards them, they caught those pieces of rocks as if they were little balls. Jumping from one place to another like skilled acrobats, they defended themselves and repeatedly harassed the army demons. So we will continue this interesting episode in tomorrow's satsang. This is Swami Nikhilananda. Om Tat Sat.